Previously on The Debt Collector, I'm Adaeze Eze. I see spiritual debts and I settle them. In Benue, I freed Mrs. Okonkwo from a stolen pot's curse. In Lagos, I helped Chief Adeyemi honor the men his grandfather sold for silver. 2 debts settled, but each one costs me. The mark on my shadow grows, ankle to mid-thigh now. 98 debts to go, and I just received a message. Children are disappearing. Come to Epe. The fishermen know.
Welcome home to Tales from the Baobab, where wisdom lives in stories.
The text came from a woman named Chidinma Okafor. She found me through Chief Adeyemi's foundation. Her daughter was getting married in 3 weeks, and Chidinma was certain her daughter was going to die. Every firstborn daughter in my family drowns, she said on the phone. Her voice was steady, too steady, the voice of someone who'd already accepted the inevitable. My grandmother, my mother tried to be the exception, had me second. But my aunt, the firstborn, drowned at 19. My cousin drowned at 23. And now my Amara is 25, getting married, planning a honeymoon to Calabar. The beach, I said quietly. The beach, she confirmed. I've tried everything. Churches, prophets, native doctors, they all say the same thing. A debt is owed, but no one can tell me to whom or why. I looked at my shadow. The mark pulsed. I'll come, I said. The village was in Delta State, 3 hours from Lagos by road. A fishing community where the river met creeks that fed into the Atlantic. Water everywhere. And in water, something waited. Chidinma met me at the village entrance. Mid-40s, beautiful, but her eyes carried the weight of generational grief. Behind her stood Amara, 25, radiant, excited about her upcoming wedding. She had no idea her mother had called me. This is Mrs. Eze, Chidinma introduced me. She's helping with wedding preparations. I nodded, played along, but I was already looking. Amara had the mark. Wedding beads, traditional coral beads, but made of cyan light, wrapped around her neck like a necklace. Tight, getting tighter. She couldn't see them, couldn't feel them, but I watched as she unconsciously touched her throat, adjusted her collar, felt something there that doctors would call anxiety. It's so nice to meet you, Amara said, smiling. My fiancé and I are so blessed. Everything's coming together perfectly. The beads pulsed, tightened slightly. Chidinma saw my face, knew I'd seen something. That evening, after Amara went to her fiancé's family compound, Chidinma told me the full story. In 1955, my great-grandmother was betrothed to a river spirit, a tradition in our village. Every generation, one daughter would marry the river, become a priestess, serve the water deity. I'd heard of this practice, sacred marriages, not uncommon in riverine communities. The chosen woman would undergo ceremonies, never marry a human man, dedicate her life to maintaining the relationship between the village and the water spirits. But my great-grandmother fell in love with a Christian missionary. He told her the old ways were demonic, that she should marry him instead, be saved, leave the village. I already knew how this ended. She ran away on the wedding day, the day she was supposed to marry the river, left the ceremonial robes at the shore, married the missionary in Lagos, had children, never came back. And the spirit? I asked, though I knew. Felt betrayed, jilted, angry. The village priestess at the time said the river would collect what it was owed, the bride that never came. It will take her. And if not her, then her daughters and their daughters, until the debt was paid. 3 generations, drowning in water, always water. How do they die? I asked. Chidima's voice broke. Differently each time. My grandmother, bathing in the river, slipped. Strong swimmer, shouldn't have drowned. My aunt, caught in sudden rain flood. My cousin, on a boat that didn't sink. Everyone else survived, just her. And the autopsies always showed the same thing. What? Water in their lungs, but not river water, not ocean water, fresh water, pure, like spring water, water that shouldn't exist in their lungs. I felt cold. This wasn't just a curse. This was personal. A spirit who felt betrayed, who was systematically collecting a bride it believed it was owed. "Can you help her?" Chidima whispered. I looked out at the river. Moonlight reflected on dark water. Somewhere beneath that surface, something was waiting. Something that had been waiting 70 years for a bride that never came. "I don't know," I said honestly, "but I'll try." The next morning, I met with the village's oldest priestess, Mama Udawak, 93 years old. She remembered the original betrothal. "The river spirit's name is Eze Mmiri," she told me. "King of waters. He is old, older than the village, older than memory." We sat in her compound. She poured libations on the ground as we spoke. When a human is chosen to marry a spirit, it's not symbolic, it's real, a covenant. The woman becomes a bridge between worlds. She carries the river's blessing to the people and the people's respect to the river. But the woman who ran away, Ada, her name was Ada Okofo, the same surname as Chidima and Amara. She broke the covenant, not just for herself, for all her descendants, because she carried the river's mark, his spiritual claim. And when you carry a mark and refuse to honor it, it passes down, I finished. Mama Udawak nodded. "To the firstborn daughter of every generation until one of them fulfills the covenant." "You mean dies?" I said flatly. She didn't flinch. "Or chooses. Ada could have chosen. Her daughters could have chosen, become priestesses, honored the agreement. But they all ran, chose human love, modern ways, Christianity." I thought about that, about Ada, barely 19, in love with a missionary who promised her salvation, about the daughters after her, raised in Lagos, far from the river, not even knowing why water terrified them. "How do I negotiate with this spirit?" I asked. Mama Udawak looked at me with ancient eyes. "You are asking the wrong question, daughter. The question isn't how. It's whether you are willing to pay the price of meeting him." "What price?" "To speak with Eze Mmiri, you must go to him, enter his domain, the river. And in water, spirits are strongest. You could drown, not your body, your spirit, be pulled into his world and never return." I touched my shadow, felt the mark there, invisible to others, but always present. "I have to try," I said. That afternoon, I asked Chidinma to take me to where her grandmother drowned. A quiet bend in the river, shaded by palm trees. Beautiful, deceptive. I stood at the water's edge, took off my shoes, my socks with green stripes, rolled up my khaki trousers. "What are you doing?" Chidinma asked, alarmed. "Meeting him," I said. I stepped into the water. Cold, immediately cold. Too cold for Delta State. The water should be warm. I waded deeper, waist deep. The current was gentle, but I felt something else. A pull. Not physical, spiritual. I touched the water with my palm, closed my eyes. Eze Miri, King of Waters, I need to speak with you about Ada, about the death. The water around me began to glow, cyan, like the marks I saw on people. And then the world dissolved.
I was underwater, but I could breathe. The river bottom was different here, not more than stones, crystal clear, like looking through glass into another realm. And there he stood, Eze Emiri, tall, impossibly tall. He wasn't human, had never been human, but he took a form I could comprehend. "You have the sight," he said. His voice was the sound of rivers flowing, multiple currents speaking at once. "I do," I replied, "and I've come about Ada's descendants." His face darkened. Literally, the water around him grew shadowed. "Ada," he repeated. The name was pain and rage. My bride, who abandoned me, who shamed me before all the water spirits, who left me waiting at the shore like a fool. I felt his heart. It radiated through the water. This wasn't just anger. This was heartbreak, betrayal. A spirit who had chosen a human honored her, prepared to bind himself to her forever, and she'd run. She was 19, I said carefully, in love with someone else, afraid. "I loved her," he said, and the water trembled. "I chose her from all the daughters, sent dreams, visions, showed her the beauty of my world, and she agreed, won my beads, accepted my gifts, and then she ran." He moved closer. I felt the pressure of deep water. For 70 years, I have waited, taking what is owed, each daughter, each refusal, each one drowning in the water that should have been her home. "Amara doesn't know," I said. "She was never told, never given the choice." Her great-grandmother knew, her grandmother knew, her mother knew. They all knew, and they all chose to keep their daughters ignorant, keep them in Lagos, away from me, as if distance could break a spiritual covenant. He was right, and I knew it. "What do you want?" I asked. "Truth, not revenge. What do you actually want?" The water stilled. He looked at me. Really looked. "I want my bride," he said quietly. "And if Amara refuses, if she chooses her fiancé?" His eyes went cold. "Then she would join her ancestors in my waters, and I will wait for the next generation and the next until one finally honors what Ada promised." I took a breath. The water filled my lungs but didn't drown me. What if there was another way?
"Another way?" Izemiri's voice was skeptical. "You want a bride, someone to honor the covenant, but Ada is dead. Her daughters are dead. The covenant was made with Ada, not her descendants." "The mark passes," he said. "The debt passes. But you're angry at Ada, not them. They didn't jilt you, they're just paying for her joys." He said nothing. The water waited. "I bring Ada to you," I said. "She's been dead for 40 years. Then let me bring her spirit. Let her face you. Let her answer for what she did and release her descendants from a death that was never theirs." The water swirled. He was considering. "And if she refuses even in death?" "Then you make your choice. take Amara or accept that Ada's betrayal doesn't obligate her great-granddaughter to pay with her life. I was gambling, hoping that underneath the anger was a spirit who wanted justice, not just revenge. Finally, he nodded. Bring her. Tomorrow at sunset. Here. If she comes, if she speaks truth, I will release the living. But if she refuses... Understood, I said. The water released me. I gasped, suddenly back in the physical river, waist deep, coughing. Chidima pulled me out. What happened? You were under for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. It had felt like hours. I need to find Ada's grave. Tonight.
We found her grave in a cemetery in Lagos. Adaeze Eze died 1985, age 49, buried next to her missionary husband. I knelt at her grave, placed my hand on the stone. Ada, I said quietly, I need you to come with me, to face what you ran from, to free your daughters. The grave didn't respond, but I felt something, a presence, watching. Your great-granddaughter is going to die, I said. In 3 weeks, unless you face him, unless you tell him why you ran, why you broke the covenant. Silence. Then a whisper in the wind. I was afraid. I looked up, saw nothing, but felt her. The ghost of a girl who'd made a choice 70 years ago and never expected it to haunt generations. Then tell him that, I said, tomorrow, sunset, the river where you were supposed to meet him. He'll kill me. You're already dead, I said gently, but your daughters are still dying. Don't you think that's enough? The next evening, at sunset, we gathered at the river. Chidinma, Amara, Mama Uduak, and me. Amara was confused, angry. What is this? Some kind of ritual? Mother, you promised no more superstitions. Watch, I said quietly. I waded into the water, felt the pool, and Ada came. A ghost, translucent, wearing the white ceremonial robes she'd abandoned 70 years ago. She looked at the river, at the place where she was supposed to have become a bride. And Eze rose from the water. They faced each other, the jilted spirit and the runaway bride. Ada, he said. After 70 years, he said her name. Eze, she whispered. Why? His voice broke. Why did you run? I would have loved you, protected you, given you everything. Ada's ghost trembled. Because I was 19, and the missionary said you were a demon, that I'd be damned if I married you, that my soul would be lost. And so you chose his God over our covenant. She chose fear, she said honestly. I chose the easy path, and I've regretted it every day since I died, watching my daughters drown, knowing it was my fault. The water rippled, tears, a spirit crying. I'm sorry, Ada said. I'm so sorry. I dishonored you, shamed you, broke something sacred, and I've been too much of a coward to face you until now. Eze looked at her, at the ghost of the girl he'd loved. Release them, Ada said. Take me. Let me fulfill the covenant in death, but let my daughters live. Please. The water stilled. No, he said quietly. Ada looked up, shocked. You were right to be afraid, he said. I am old, powerful, not human. Your missionary was wrong about demons, but he was right about danger. Marrying a spirit is dangerous. Your daughter shouldn't pay for your fear. He turned to Amara. The wedding beads around her neck glowed. You are free. Marry your human. Have your children. Live. The covenant is broken by my choice. The beads dissolved, golden light, like fireflies returning to the sky. Amara gasped, touched her throat, free. Eze looked at Ada one last time. I loved you, and perhaps that's why I've been so angry.
not at your choice, but at never hearing why. Ada's ghost began to fade. I loved you too, in a way, but I was too young to know how to love something so vast. And she was gone.
Amara hugged her mother, crying, laughing, free. Mama Uduak looked at Eze Mary. The spirit nodded to her, an old respect, and sank back into the river. I stood at the water's edge, alone, and looked at my shadow. The mark had spread, mid-thigh to hip now, nearly covering my entire left leg. 3 deaths settled, 97 to go. Chidinma noticed, "Miss Eze, your shadow." I pulled my trouser leg down. "I'm fine." "That's a lie." She stepped closer. "You took our debt, didn't you? Settled it, and now you are carrying it? It's not that simple. Isn't it?" She knelt, looked at my shadow in the fading sunset light. "You collect debts, but someone has to pay, and it's you." I said nothing. "How many more?" she asked quietly. 97. "And when you reach 100? I met her eyes. "I don't know. My grandfather died at 99, trying to settle the 100th debt, his own." She stood, pulled out a card, her own card. "When you're ready to settle yours, call me. I know water spirits. I know sacred marriages. I know how to navigate between worlds. And I pay my debt too." I took the card, the second one, Chief Adaeme's and now hers. 2 allies, 2 people who knew what this cost. As I walked away from the river, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, again. 3 deaths, 3 allies. You're building something. Good. You'll need them. Next death is different. I looked at my shadow. The mark pulsed, growing. 3 deaths settled, 97 to go. And each one pulls me closer to the 100th. My name is Adaeze Eze. I am a debt collector, and the water remembers everything.